shortly.
All right. Welcome to Talking in Stations. We're doing a special PAPI announcement episode. We're at the time now at, let's see, in Eve time, it is 1930, and we're expecting that all the PAPI alliances are going to have their individual addresses. This is, we're tapped into what Goon Swarm is tapped into. It's on YouTube, so we'll listen in a little bit here.
A couple Goon bomber fleets running around, but otherwise not that much.
This is Pro God Legend, so this is the test address. There are multiple addresses going on in different parts of PAPI. So NC Dot's having their meeting, Horde's having their meeting, and so forth. And so we're listening into a spy channel for Goon Swarm, so imagine it's public. We'll do what we can to listen to other groups as well so that we don't just hear one message. I think you're going to start seeing the same message come from all the groups. They're just telling all their guys at the same time. So again, we'll be listening to Test's version of what's going on. And in the meantime, I can bring up some a map so we can take a look at what they're talking about if they're going to be doing that. And we expect them to make some kind of a war announcement. So what we're, this noise is coming from the stream, so I'll lower it. Some kind of a war announcement. We assume it's an acceleration. So here we go.
Great today.
It's Pro God Legend from Test.
Please mute your microphones, guys. Please mute your microphones. All right, numbers are solid, so let's go ahead and do it. We're not going to be too long today, guys. We're going to be pretty straight to the point. We've got some things to do today. War's been going on for over a year now. We killed the last Keepstar outside the 1-Q constellation a couple of months ago, and we've had goons stuck in the 1-Q constellation for 2 or 3 months now. We had some pretty high intensity fighting for the first month and a half, 2 months of that. And we backed off a little bit as, just to give people a break and because the situation was as good as it could have been. We've had it pretty much stalemated for about a month, 6 weeks now. And, goons have not really been able to do too much outside the 1-Q constellation. They had that brief breakout last weekend where they timed some super hype pings at the right moment while we were all kind of bored and not really into Eve at the moment. And then as they reinforced some structures. We didn't try too hard to stop them. And then when the timers actually came out, they didn't show up at all, as per usual. This situation could probably go on for a while. There really is nothing that we need to do. There's a reason we didn't press the 1-Q constellation as hard as we possibly could have. But even though we could keep this going for a while, to be honest, it is pretty boring. The game mechanics being what they are, the situation Eve being what it is, this could be sustainable, but it's not necessarily something that we're all looking forward to. The war going on for as long as it has, our FC team has been, going in and out of activity and, all taking breaks and rotating. We finally got enough of us back, and just looking at the situation, it's time to just go for it. Even though we could keep this going on, and we could stress goons out and stress ourselves out, and eventually put pressure on CCP to do something about these ridiculous mechanics. We're just going to go for it. So we're going to get everyone back for another big push. We've had people spread out across the map for a while now. We had some people move capitals around. Some of the alliances have been given sort of a break so that we could, keep them healthy and keep them interested. All those people are going to come back now. It's going to take about a week to get everyone moved. Probably a little bit longer than a week, actually. We're aiming to get everyone moved by a week. I imagine by next week we'll still have some people moving down. But for the most part, we're expecting everyone to be back for within a week or so. And then we're going to start up the aggression again. We do not expect this to last long. We're not going to hold anything back this time. This is an all-in play. We are expecting to use all of our capitals and supers and titans at some point, and we expect everyone to be able to be resubscribing everything that they have and getting it all ready to go. And any capitals you have that are not in T5Z, even ratting carriers, need to be moved into T5Z. This will probably take at most 2 to 4 weeks, win or lose. There won't be much left to fight with one way or the other. If this goes on for longer than 4 weeks, we won't have much. Goons won't have much either. So these battles will be big. They'll be intense. And we expect it to end the war one way or the other. So that is the game plan. We need everyone to get back into the game ASAP. For now, what we are going to do is we're going to start turning up the pressure on Goons logistics right away while people are moving. In a little bit, we're going to form up fleets. We're going to wipe out all the structures that they have left. And we're going to be setting up the NPC delve interdiction that's been rumored from time to time. So let's go ahead and start getting fleets formed up shortly. I'll be putting up a fleet. Shattered will be putting up a fleet for Legacy, and then we'll get third and fourth fleets going up in a bit, and we'll break out in the fleet channels now shortly. We will be introducing a few new fleet concepts. Tengus will be introduced as a thing. We'll have quite a few new tactics ready to go for this. This will not be using the same tactics we used before, and we will have a different approach to it. But the main thing we need is numbers and for people to get back ASAP into the game and get ready for this to be over, one way or the other. It's been going on for a year now. We've done a lot, and we've gotten goons all the way back to their last constellation, killed 30 plus keep stars, done all that stuff. But a year is a long time. And as much as the stalemate was interesting, and the whole dynamic was, I guess, unique and never been done before, it's not something we want to do forever.
You almost said it. You almost said it's not working.
So we're going to be introducing new ships. We need to get all our capitals back, and we need to get ready for some really violent fighting. 7 days is the official word that we're waiting for everyone to get moved in. But we're going to start some stuff right now. So give me 1 second here. Shattered, you got one? All right. And then test pilots, what we're going to do is if you're in ProGod's fleet, you're going to go to Fleet 1 on test comms, and then we'll have a second fleet go up as soon as that one's full. Stand by.
Oh, so they're moving into action already. Looks like the next week will be an assembly period.
Watch your pings. We'll be pinging the fleets out to the pings for a bit, but for now,
all right.
Test subcat pilots, you can start flowing into ProGod fleet. Legacy pilots, listen to Shattered.
So something going down right now.
That's it, boys.
And that's what we've heard. Again, this is just one of many alliances.
And I expect we will be victorious. See you there.
Okay. Those are the final comments from ProGod Legend talking to Test, one of the PAPI alliances. This exact message is going round from all the leadership in PAPI. There will be a final assault. It will start in 1 week. It will last 2 to 4 weeks. Shouldn't last any longer than that. And he almost admitted there that their current strategy isn't working. I think he said it wasn't fun. And so we're going to see a huge collision of players one way or the other. Either PAPI is destroyed in the process of trying to root out Imperium in 1DQ and that constellation, or the Imperium is destroyed, crushed under the pressure of the enemies, which would be PAPI. So that's going to happen over the next month. Let's see if we have more information from other groups that gave out the same message, but I think since they were all giving out the same message, it may be a nuanced difference rather than a real difference. All right, is the volume there? The volume's good. Let me make sure. All right, we're in the public channel. All right, so here's from Fraternity listening to, okay, so everyone back to Delve. That's the first message coming out of Fraternity. Let's hear if there's any more from Test.
You have to take into account
now we're listening to Gobbins.
Server instability as best as you can. Adriani, yeah, that's confirmed. It was patched out. There is no more skill point loss for losing T3 cruisers. You can lose as many T3 cruisers as you want without losing.
He's on a question and answer period at this moment.
The usual is asking if you can flag capital with T3 be used during those fights. Yeah, T3s are not a replacement for capitals. Imagine T3s as a sub-capital, like a hack that's tankier but doesn't have the ADC, and as the main advantage of being able to be Sinod and bridged inside a Sinogemmed system. And it's a bit clunky in the sense that when you bridge, you need to have the covered ops configuration on, so you have less tank and less damage. And then you can you can either fight in that configuration, or you need to refit to a combat configuration to get your full DPS and tank.
Listening to Gobbins from Pandemic Horde.
See, somebody's asking where the questions I'm currently taking are from the Discord, the channel called Town Hall War Update. Yeah, Galtiner, I think we normally have enough Blobs Bridgers, but more are always helpful. Yes, Dexter or Muskie will be the point of contact for that. Yeah, more questions about the server. We can address that. Again, to the best of our ability. If it looks like the servers just can't handle the numbers of a block word, then that's how it is. But I think that with the proper preparation, there is a good chance that the server is on either person's side. But of course, it's always Travis, yeah, I'll let... Yeah, go ahead.
Never mind. Travis asked the question I meant to ask. That was important.
Yeah. I will be adding the Logifit as well. For now, anyways, just want to make sure that people can see more or less what you trained for. But the thread is incomplete. All right. Yeah, some of the other questions are a bit too detailed about the plan. I want to talk about, like, I want to be able to share those things with the FCs first and the CEOs, and then send another update with more... The win condition is the usual thing. Like, the ambition is to try and burn down 1DQ. Of course, any progress would be good. Like, if from this attack we could take some more system and some more keep stars, and then weren't able to break 1DQ itself, which is another set of challenges. I wouldn't count that as a win, but I'd be happy about the... Yeah. Okay, I think I can move on. I will move on to the next subject. It seems most of the questions are more or less on the same topics, or some questions, for example, are about the doctrine, and I'll update the thread with some of the extra details that people are asking. Okay, so the next thing, maybe I'll talk about the AT first, since Chosu has to go soon. Please unmute Chosu so I can get him to talk as well.
Let me find them 1 second.
Yeah, but meanwhile, I'll just introduce you real quick. The Alliance Tourney is back on. I'm really happy that CCP brought this back. There's been a lot of requests from Beans about Horde having an Alliance Tourney, so we will fund this Alliance Tourney. We'll pay the entrance fees and everything that is needed. I've looked at who could be the captain for this Alliance Tourney, and Chosu stepped up. He's already made a Discord, and he's making preparations to invite people. As far as timeline goes, who can participate? Anybody in the Alliance can be a member of the team. When we apply, we just need to tell them who the captain is. The only deadline is August 23rd. You need to have been in Horde by August the 23rd in order for CCP to let you fly for Horde. They also allow up to 10 characters that are not in Horde to participate with the mercenary rule, but you have to declare those. And the tourney itself starts in November. Unless we don't get into these initial bids, then there's a feeder tourney, which is where you need to beat other people in order to make it into the tourney. That one starts in September. Yeah, I leave the floor to Chasu if you want to say
Sure.
any words.
Yeah, so on the forums I posted yesterday a forum thread for those of you that are interested in actually applying to the team. I'll link it in Mumble chat here. Oh, I can't actually. I'll put it in or someone can put it in town hall update or something like that. But basically, we're looking for around 20-ish, 20, 30 dudes in total. And it's not necessarily people that are interested in just being on the team specifically. If you're interested in also doing something like the more theory crafting element, or doing research into kind of previous
They're
tournaments.
talking about the
most
Alliance
recent,
tournament here, so
tournament
I'll
that
go
was
ahead and
hosted
turn
up,
this down. Some of the notes that we are collecting here, I'll read them out. Actually, I'll make this mute. This is a Q&A. Now they're going into the Alliance tournament, talking to the captain Chosu. I think it's Chosu. I've had trouble getting his name right. He's going to be the Alliance tournament leader for Horde. But that is off topic. Today we're talking about the war announcement. The final assault has been announced by PAPI. They are going to go for it. They're going to try to knock out the Goon Swarm from their citadel, basically, city of citadels. And so we will see an escalation in combat over the next 2 to 4 weeks. You're going to see about a 1-week preparation period for assembly. They're telling everybody to light up those accounts. From what we hear, super capitals that are not in the area from Fraternity, for instance, are on their way. They will be able to go down something of a safe route through Keep Stars. We'll see if we can't show you what that looks like. And the Vince Draken has told his guys it's going to be a doctrine wipe. So you're going to basically have new ships that you need to be able to fly, or different ships you need to be able to fly. All capitals are getting turned back on. So this is going to be a heavy-duty assault with everything. Now, why would they do this? What happened to the Anaconda strategy of choking out the Imperium? You heard, the closest thing you heard was that it was not working from, well, he didn't say it. He didn't say it, but he almost said it. He said this isn't, and then he turned to say, this isn't fun, something like that. So I think the takeaway has to be that this isn't a good situation for anybody. People who are involved in the war, people who are in the war on either side, are not having the kind of fun they want to have during the summer. The PCU has startled everybody into action. I think that's basically the dip started in May, which is the same time that hostilities came to a close. So now you have two groups locked into a protracted war, sitting across from each other with not a lot of activity happening on the map, right in those two systems. So if it's not happening there, it's not happening anywhere. That is the conclusion or logical conclusion that players come to. So the war is hurting player participation in the game. So that probably is one of the contributing factors of why they're going from a siege to an assault. Let's see what else we have here. War. Okay, so here is some. Okay, we heard that from tests. The war's gone over a year. It's time to assault. I'll look at. First, let's check back in. No, it looks like that video is over. So they only had streaming spies from the test and from Horde. They didn't have any, it looks like, in NC. or PL or Fraternity. But on the Fraternity front, or actually let's go to what Horde just said. We're looking at Gobbins. He just had an address at the same time ProGod did. It says, currently neither party is able to gain ground, and they could not make progress in the final constellation, and they could not make progress in counterattacks. So it's a stalemate. So basically, Gobbins is admitting that the war is not going anywhere. Not that they're winning or losing, but it's just not going anywhere. And it could take a very long time for people to run out of money and run out of funds. So a siege doesn't work in EVE like it would in real life. And could be a problem. But it does kind of ruin fun, and players will go away, and eventually numbers could drop, and then you could have an assault. But by then, you've already done damage to the game, I suppose. So currently, neither party is able to win. The equilibrium stops goons from doing damage around the map, but people are starting to get bored. As such, we are looking to a resolution for the war. These are Gobbins, is what he said earlier. We are getting everybody back for a final large push with max numbers. After that, the war is over, whether we succeed or fail. So here's their timeline. 5 to 6 days to move back to T5Z. During this week, they will try to interdict NPC stations, and we will clear goon structures. So they are doing some trapping work there in NPC areas. In Delve. During this initial period, we will be sure to buy, I don't know if that's OPSEC or not. I'm just going to say it because these are notes. No, I won't say it. We'll try to find it. All right. During this initial period, make sure to buy Tengus, if you can fly one, and 2 of your favorite battle cruisers. By day 7, the aggression starts. So yeah, in a week. We do not want to disclose the specific tactics, but it is a mixture of things that had started to work in the past by leveraging the max numbers. Okay, well, there's a new data point, right? They actually have a plan of max numbers that we didn't know before. And so they said that that has worked for them in the past. And so the shift to assault makes more sense. There is an actual strategy or tactic they can use that they think they can actually back up and break 1DQ. And this reminds me of what ProGod said a long time ago, which was when they first got into this stalemate, there was a few opportunities to make some advancements. And what happened was they were pulled back because there wasn't a commitment to go all the way. And ProGod said that. They said, yeah, the reason that we're not defending this progress that we've made is because we're not going all in right now. It's not the right time to go all in. So I think that has changed. It is the time to go all in, according to these guys. The assault's going to happen. If they make progress, they're going to capitalize on that progress, and they're going to drive as many numbers of players as they can. Their advantage is that they outnumber the Imperium by quite a bit, 2 to 1, 2.3 to 1 in our calculations. Other people say 3 to 1. We've seen on the battlefield lately it's been 1 to 1, if not the Imperium with more people. Somewhere in there is the truth, but we've seen historically in this war that Imperium has been outnumbered very well, at least 2 to 1. Let's see if there's anything else. We expect the war to be over one way or another in a matter of weeks. But basically, it's clear that if it's back to stalemate, we will go home. So now the win condition for PAPI has changed. It is no longer a siege that is meant to deteriorate the Imperium. Now it is an assault. And the assault, if it ends in a tie, PAPI will lose. And they've admitted it themselves. If there is a tie here, they will basically go back home. Maybe not lose, but they will go back home. And if the Imperium survives an assault, I think they can claim that that's a victory. At least the way Vili set it up, I think, and I think Gobbins would agree that if 1DQ is still standing after all this and the Imperium is in there, whether they're damaged or not, that is a win condition for them after this year-long war. All right, and we have then from Fraternity, we had several leaks from Fraternity earlier, not internally from our people, but public leaks that we were able to see. And theirs says something along the same lines. Of course, they were all saying the same message, but there may be a little nuance that we could detect. But Noros, their leader, said there's going to be a final push. It will last It will last 1 to 2 weeks. That's a different time scale than what ProGod said from test. He said 2 to 4 weeks, but Naros is saying 1 to 2 weeks. If PAPI can't get into 1DQ, they'll accept the result and they will go home. So this is an all or nothing. That's what's going on here. And I think a lot of players are going to be enticed by, on both sides, be enticed by the finale. And I think that is what PAPI leadership is doing. They're making this a very public announcement. They've made an announcement. They're going to have an announcement, which is very unusual. The announcement is there's going to be a final assault. That is clearly a call to their players to come back, but it's a public call, which means that Imperium can use that same public call to call their players back. And I think you'll see that on the coverage of the Fireside and the Meta Show and whatever stuff that INN has. They're going to be calling their people back because this is basically a call to arms for both sides. Now they have something to react to. So that is what's going on there. All right, let me turn off the headset here. So now you'll see that there's, I think they planned this at this time, short announcement so that people could hear the response from PAPI. And so, sorry, from Imperium. And I think that is where we'll end it. So you can go and listen to that response on the Meta Show. Let's see if we can take a look at that. But there you have it. I believe it is. I believe it's the announcement that we were expecting. We had a few other scenarios that would have been very interesting. Like, let's just explore these. Jean came up with throwing Goon Swarm out of the Tranquility Trade Commission and replacing it with Naros. And would that solidify PAPI's engagement as a group? And would that diminish over time Goon Swarm? And it would just be an interesting political move. I really like the way that one looks. It's diplomatic, it's financial, it has a lot of elements to it, symbolic. So I thought that would have been a really cool announcement if they had made it. I think another really cool announcement would have been something that Horde could have proposed, right? Because Horde is one of the keys to this war. So what if Gobbins had said, look, if you give me those 40 faction Fortizars, I'll take those and go home. And you can call it a win, and we'll call it a win, because we avenged what Sort Dragon did, and we buried the past. And that's good for us. So it would be interesting to see how diplomacy would work there, because that is an out. And you might see Imperium say, no, we're Imperium. We don't make deals like that. We're not surrendering in any way or giving you anything. But on the other hand, it would have been a very legitimate way of breaking up the PAPI coalition with a payment, a bounty that they didn't, that they didn't have it before. They got it from Sort Dragon when they extorted it out of him, and they could give it to Gobbins, and it would just be something that, that passed through them. And so that would be an interesting political and diplomatic quagmire, because what do you do? That would be interesting. Those are scenarios that didn't happen, unfortunately, but they would be really good for storytelling. What did happen is the typical, we're going all in. And so you have all of PAPI suiting up, gearing up, 1 week of that. Attacks on logistics lines put a lot of pressure on the Imperium. I wonder if there's something going on there. It doesn't seem like a important move if really what we're talking about are these giant super capital fleets colliding. It doesn't seem like their logistic lines would be that important, and not any more important than they are, because the action would already be started, and it's going to be so short that the logistics would never be able to make a big difference. Normally you go after logistic lines when you want to diminish their ability to recover. So, but they are going to do that. So PAPI is going to attack logistics lines of Imperium while they assault. And a week before. They're starting right now. So I wonder if they don't have any information on how that could be successful and why that would be successful. Why should they waste their time doing that? In other words, if you're going to assault, why is that a big deal? There must be something there. I don't know. And let's see. I think the last part of this is the Imperium's reaction, which we'll hear now. This was timed, I believe. Today is Saturday, and it is right about the time where the leader of the Imperium and his sidekick go on a show and talk about their situation. So you're going to see their response. And I think that is what PAPI intended. So this is a card thrown on the table saying, we're revealing what we're doing. What are you doing? And I don't really know what the answer to that is going to be, because they're going to do what they were doing before, which is trying to survive inside of the 1DQ. All right, if you guys have questions, I'll take them and try to give you some answers, but we've just heard from the PAPI. We heard Pro God Legend, we heard Gobbins, we got information from Fraternity, we're looking for information from NCPL. All of them have said the same message. There's going to be a full-on assault. Everybody's coming back. All the big toys, in quotes, are being turned back on. So we're going to see super capitals. There was a key that Pro God said, I think, was they saw some progress, or maybe it was Gobbins actually. There was some progress with max numbers. And that reflects something that Pro God said months ago, where they didn't follow up successes breaking into the 1DQ constellation. They didn't follow up on those because they weren't going all in. Well, now they are going all in. And so that tells me there were successes they had made before. And this time, now that they're signaling a big push and signaling everybody to come back and trying to get the big volume of players back, that they have a plan to use max numbers to assault 1DQ. And they think they can come away with a finale. They didn't say they think they could win. They said, win or lose, we're doing this. And if we run into a situation where we've lost, we go back home. If we run into a situation where it's a stalemate, we go back home. The only victory for PAPI now is to destroy the Imperium by taking over 1DQ, their capital system, and I assume destroying everything in there. And I said this would last 1 to 2 weeks according to Fraternity, 2 to 4 weeks according to Pro God Legend from Test. Does that include structure grind time? Don't know. I think the assault itself is going to take this month or less. But if they win, if the Imperium leaves or is destroyed, there will be an epilogue of taking down the structures that are there. That has to be clearly longer than the period they have given themselves. But at that point, the war is over. Again, if the Imperium win, it's going to be very interesting to see what condition PAPI groups are in. They may retreat intact, and that would basically put us back to basically where we were. And then you have to look at who's in the immediate area. If it's Test is in real trouble. They can't take the Imperium on their own if they don't have backup. And if that backup goes home, Test is indeed next. So this is very important for Test to fight and not to be seen as somebody that could care less if they win or lose. And that goes for all of Legacy, because it's not just Test, but you have all of Legacy in there. You have Brave that's in Aquarius, and you have groups in Period Basis. All this territory that was taken over, I believe those are the people that should be the most nervous. They will be the first targets if the Imperium wins. All right. There you go. There's the announcement from PAPI. I think that we can wrap it up now. Unless you guys have some questions you guys want to ask, or if you have some information. There's really not much more. This is something that we knew was going to happen. So the announcement is what we thought. It's going to be a final assault. Some interesting things I think that to point to are Noros actually came on Talking in Stations, was saying, yeah, we have a responsibility to keep our membership happy. Noros was the first person to show me and show everybody in TIS Discord. This is like 2 or 3 days after the PCU started to dip. And I asked him about that, and I said, well, how did you know the PCU was dipping? Nobody else knew it. Nobody else was looking at that. And he said, I experienced it for myself with my own membership not showing up anymore. The PCU is dropping. I looked at the numbers. They were actually not recovering. They were going through normal motions on the low end, but they weren't coming back up to where they should be. And that was like the 3rd day that that had happened. So we were really quick to see the PCU was in real trouble. And this is in the middle of May. And it was Naros that saw that. So I think he feels the pressure to keep his membership engaged, probably as much as anybody else, if not more. And I think if you've listened to him on Talking in Stations and you've seen some of his actions in the game, I think he's very much a strong voice in attack now. We got to get this over with. And it's easier for him to say that because he's going to be in pretty good shape, having diversified very well. He has his time zone on lockdown. His nearest competitor is on the other side of the map, and they're much smaller. So the former Australian time zone, now the Chinese time zone, is really dominated by Fraternity. Snuff can't hurt Fraternity in that time zone. And now when you have a combination of Fraternity and Nullsec, a very strong US time zone group, now with added FCs that were disgruntled from NC. Centers group. That's a strong US time zone coupled with Fraternity's AU time zone. That is a strong little block. So he's going to end up okay, win or lose, in the South. The people who are really in trouble here are Imperium, of course. They may actually get dominated and lose. If they win, they have an opportunity to come back and destroy Legacy, which will be interesting. And at the end of the day, if you dial back to 2018, you remember it was Imperial Legacy. They were allies, and they were able to win the Winter Coalition War, and they were able to win Providence while the stations changed. So they beat PL together. They beat Fraternity and Fraternity's allies together, which were Pandemic Legion and Triumvirate. So that was a strong combination of people. And of course, Imperium marched up and defeated not only Dead Coalition, but Northern Coalition, Pandemic Legion. They took over the North and wiped out Tribute. So Imperial Legacy as a super coalition was able to dominate 2018. So X-47, big battle. They won that pretty much. The servers kind of lost that one too, unfortunately. The UALX, great battle. Imperial Legacy was able to win that one. That changed the dynamic between Test and Pandemic Legion. Pandemic Legion actually looked like the loser in that fight. So that was a big change, huge change. So you have Imperial Legacy, again, as a very powerful block against PanFam and ultimately PandaFam if you include Fraternity in that group. One of those two groups, Imperial or Legacy, will probably be destroyed in the next 3 months. And so PanFam kind of wins in this scenario one way or the other. I know that kind of looks like a stretch, but if you go back to 2018 and you look at the map and who was fighting who and who were enemies, and then you apply that to what we're looking at now, Imperium gets destroyed inside of 1DQ, or Legacy gets destroyed because the Imperium is going to want some revenge, and they're coming out of 1DQ and looking for it all over Delve, Period Basis, Aquarius, those places. So kind of interesting. And what I'm saying is that Fraternity, who has a strong miniature block with an SH and, good politics with people in the North, that whole arrangement could be very interesting to see how well they weather this final assault. So the politics of what follows, and that's what I'm talking about, are a little bit interesting. So we'll see how that ends up. All right. That's all I got for you today. Just doing this emergency broadcast system kind of thing so that we can bring you the latest. PAPI will be doing a final assault. They will start in 1 week. It will last, we're going to say 2 to 4 weeks. That's the longer of the two estimates. And the result will be tie goes to the defender. So Imperium either loses or they resist and win. PAPI either destroys the Imperium in 1DQ, or they get destroyed in the process, or they stalemate, in which case they lose and they go back home. Or I shouldn't say they lose, but they go back home, and then you can interpret it however you want. So that is what they are looking at. See if I have a little more information from Northern Coalition. Okay. Not a lot of information coming out of NC Dot that can that is anything other than what we've already talked about. All right, thank you guys for hanging out. Please make sure that you follow the channel so you get updates on when we actually broadcast. We're here every day doing Talking in Stations, talking about the game, trying to find the latest news, bringing you all the stuff as quickly as possible, but as accurately as possible too. We like to make sure that we are giving you the full picture and letting you look behind the scenes at the diplomatic struggles without any of the narrative and psychological warfare. We try to filter that out for you. And what we try to give you is the best analysis that we can on what we're seeing in the game and what's really being said, not what's out there in the public. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And also, we have a Discord. If you want to join the Discord, come hang out with us, where you can talk to other EVE Online players, both new players and advanced players. There you go. Thanks. Okay, everyone. Thanks very much. We will see you later tomorrow on the Sunday edition of Talking in Stations. Take care.